We're back. It's like we never left. Like we've literally been here for 7 days, just waiting to hit go. To
Lurking.
Fire up the theme music. Every good hero should have some. And now here we are with another edition of the Eternal Baseball Podcast. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Mark Weber, my partner Brent Rotundi. Not just baseball tycoons and entrepreneurs, but lifetime buddies. So we'll make it go into the Wayback Machine every now and then. You never know. But I'm excited tonight because I haven't hidden the fact that I'm a Yankee fan. Born in Western New York, grew up in Oregon where you don't have a home team. So when I got interested in baseball, I said I'm going to be a Yankee fan because I like their uniforms better than the Mets. That's how simple it was. But I've been loyal ever since '86 when the Mets won the title. So I could have been a bandwagon guy, but it wasn't. Even though I'm a Yankee fan from Oregon. But okay. We tried to do two teams that have never been on the game of the week for our game of the week as long as we can. We got that streak going. Here we are, week 10. And it's time for Yankee baseball. So it'll be Yankees Mariners tonight. All excited to get the Yankees on the Eternal Baseball Podcast. The Mariners started red hot and have been ice cold ever since. So I'm really excited to watch the Yankees do the hurt dance all over Seattle. And who's pitching tonight?
Needle scratch.
God damn, Randy Johnson, who has been disappointing Yankee fans both against their team and for their team once they finally got him. So, yeah, Randy Johnson, again, like every player, in his absolute prime tonight against Masahiro Tanaka, one of my favorite Yankees, and a guy who started the year in the Yankee pen as the kind of the right-handed long reliever. But the struggles of Allie Reynolds bumped himself from the rotation. And a couple weeks ago, Tanaka got his first start and threw a one-hitter at Boston. So at a time, the Eternal Baseball Yankees really needed it. So Boston's been great, but New York has been coming on. Some of that's due to Tanaka and some other guys you may have heard of. We'll get into that a little bit later. But there are a couple teams that are red hot in Eternal Baseball. So let me get my screen shared here. There we go.
All right. So,
the yellows and the pinks pretty much tell the story. But if we go behind the numbers a little bit, you can track it back, horizontally. But there are a couple teams that are red hot, and 4 of them, and 3 of them are in the National League. So the Arizona Diamondbacks have won 20 of 25 games. So they've gone 20-5 over the last 4 weeks plus. And some of that credit has to go. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but his screen name is Mastronum, and he's one of the most active fans on our message boards. A big Diamondbacks fan and a guy who's been paying attention and has suggested some lineup tweaks and actually pointed out a statistical error that had kept their, I think, 4th starter, Ian Kennedy, from starting any games. He had starters' stats listed, but because Ian Kennedy has become a reliever in real baseball, he was still listed as a reliever. And so they had his maximum amount of pitches for a game at 40, which is a lot if you're coming out of the pen. But when it would try to start him, the computer would look at it and go, I can't start this guy. He's only going to throw 40 pitches, max. So they wouldn't start him. So he wasn't getting in relief. He wasn't getting starts. He basically had not been used. So he brought that up. We hadn't caught that. And, it's like picking up a number 3 starter midway through the year. And he's helped, pitched well. And the Diamondbacks just today, actually, have tied the Braves for first place in the National League South. So,
wow. I
mean, it's hard to get excited about a division race for a division that never existed before this year. But if you're a Diamondbacks fan, the way the cards were dealt out when Randy Johnson was given to Seattle and Curt Schilling was given to Philadelphia, it kind of felt like you might have got a raw deal there at the beginning of the year. But in something that's been wonderful for Diamondbacks and Diamondback fans. They're the ones that got booted out of the National League West because when we trimmed our divisions, there were some guys who had to go. And from the NL West, you're not going to move San Francisco or LA or San Diego. Like, I mean, you don't get more west than that. So it was either going to be Colorado or Arizona. And the way that South worked out, that division kind of worked out, it was going to be the South because the Marlins were getting booted from the East. And you're like, okay, we can make this work because the East lost Miami and Atlanta because they were gaining the Expos. So the East got back to 4, then you had those two in the South, and in one of the funky realignments, Milwaukee went back to the American League, and Houston went back to the National League. Well, Houston's pretty damn south too. So it's a lot of travel miles if you play the National League South. But it got Arizona out of the West, where the Giants were literally the Giants all year, just until lately. And it seems unfair to say the Giants are struggling, but they've only won 11 of 20. And so before
they haven't even had a losing week.
No, not even a losing. They've gone 11-9, so they're in the toilet. But if you take that away, they were 31-8, right? Like, oh, that's almost 800 ball, like ridiculous, especially against the best talent of all time. But the Giants it's hard to say they've been struggling, but by their standards, when you're playing 800 ball and then all of a sudden you go 11-9, that's an issue. And there hasn't been an injury. It's just been a little bit weaker play. And the team starting to take advantage of it is the Dodgers. Dodgers have won 15 of 17. And so they're still 8 back. So, the Giants aren't sweating bullets yet. But the trend certainly suggests that there will be some meaningful Dodgers-Giants games coming up beyond the pure hatred, right? Between those two.
Love it.
And I'm all for division races. We want, division races to make everything more interesting, especially in our league that doesn't have wild cards. So we really want to see that get rolling. The other team that's gotten really hot is the Cubs. Cubs have won 14 of 16. There was, I think, a 13-game winning streak in there that vaulted them. I think they're 2 back, which at the standings right after this. But anyway, looking at week 10, the one we just wrapped up, 3 teams with superb weeks. The Diamondbacks, we talked about at 5-1, the Dodgers 5-1, and the Yankees with the only perfect 6-0 week. So they got some momentum going into the buzzsaw that is Randy Johnson tonight.
I'm sorry, man. I'm pulling for the Mariners.
Yeah, I know you were always more Mariner fan than me, and I don't know. I don't have anything against the Mariners, really. I was not real fond of that 95 team that beat the Yankees, but
you can hold the kingdom against them. I give you that.
Yeah. It's just Vince Coleman, but by and large, there's no reason to dislike Seattle. I don't think so. And Seattle's a fun team in eternal baseball because you're looking at the guys at their absolute peak, right? So you've got Ichiro with Griffey, with Brett Boone, with Jay Buhner. That's the one guy we won't see tonight. Is Jay Buhner is out right now with an injury. He's not due back till later this week. But beyond that, the guys are pretty healthy. And your teams are really scuffled this week. Royals had a tough week as we usher in the Frank White era. The
I love these sort of these running themes we have.
Right? The poor Expos. And I love the Expos. I'm thrilled they're back in eternal baseball. But this is a bit where an expansion team has just less talent to pull from. And Montreal's still an expansion team if you're comparing them to St. Louis and San Francisco and Cincinnati and all that. And Galarraga and Raines have both had rotten years. So I'm assuming that's that stat modifier that's random for every player. But if you're Montreal and you have a thinner talent pool to pull from, if Raines and Galarraga are both hurting, then you're relying pretty much totally on Dawson and Alou. And it just doesn't quite stack up. If they had all cylinders going, I think you could see them make some noise. It's kind of what you're seeing in Arizona, right? And that's one of the things I like about the sim is it could be any team, any year. But of course, the kind of vintage franchises have the advantage of deeper rosters. But one of the seasons we ran into prep to iron the bugs out had the Rangers winning the World Series. And I don't think anybody would predict them as certainly a favorite, maybe not even in their division. But you look at the talent there, right? And if Juan Gonzalez and Ivan Rodriguez and Nelson Cruz are all hot in the same year, I don't want to see the Texas Rangers in the playoffs. So, other rough weeks. Philadelphia had a rough week for a team that was kind of handling the National League East, so that'll make that race come a little bit tighter. Mariners have a tough week. They're looking to turn that around tonight, and the Nationals are having a tough season. I mean, let's be honest, but no one had a tougher road to hoe than the Nationals because they're only pulling from Nationals players 2005 and up. So they have the thinnest, broth to try to pull any soup out of. So that's where we're at for this week.
They've only had one winning week. That's
brutal.
It's
kind of right. I love that the Giants haven't had a losing week ever, right? So we say they're struggling, but this is the main screen that we take a look at. But I'll pop the standings up here, even though I know they're real small. So Philadelphia has still got a 7-game lead on the Mets. I am waiting for the Mets to take off because Gooden has pitched well, and DeGrom actually hasn't been that good yet, and Seaver has been excellent. So I expected that three-headed monster to make them a little more competitive. We'll see if it gets turned around or if DeGrom is just having an off year to counterbalance what he's like in real ball, right? I think they said his ERA plus is like 1,200 right now. Like it's just completely
out of his mind.
Just on another galaxy. Arizona has tied up Atlanta as the Astros have really struggled and lost their grip on first place, but they're only 3 back. Again, we're 59 games into 162 game season, so there is lots of time to rebound. St. Louis has come back to earth a little bit. Pittsburgh's on their heels, and here come the Cubs, only 3 back in the National League North. The Giants still enjoy an 8-game lead, but LA is really coming on. So we'll see if the Dodgers can make a fight of it there in the National League West. In the East, Boston has slowed down a little bit, and the Yankees have been red hot. So that division lead is only 2 games going into tonight's game. The South is a bit of a runaway as the Birmingham Knights have a 14-game lead on Kansas City. That was tired, but KC had a terrible week and dropped like 4 games in the standings. So issues there in the South.
I'm going to get a pseudonym and join the boards, and let's get McRae on that team.
Right? I mean, we got to light a fire, so we can probably make it happen. And I've been really, I would love to shake them up because they have Bo Jackson in the minors. Right. And somebody had a post on Facebook this week that said, just as a fan, which baseball player would you like to have seen have a 20-year uninjured career? And I went, ooh, that's a good question. And then it just hit me like it had to be Bo, right? If you consider what he did on one leg for 3 years after his hip injury, like.
Right.
I can't even imagine what he might have done as he kind of matured as a ball player, right? It seemed like he not got by, but he was so good just on athletic talent alone that you got to believe a healthy Bo in year 6 or 7
would just been absurd.
Absurd. Oh my God, just can't even imagine. So that's the South. The North, Detroit's still in charge. Cleveland and Chicago are not bad. But still 8 games back up north. And out west, Oakland is pretty well in control, though Nolan Ryan has, obviously, no surprise, put together a couple of really good starts in a row. So who knows, maybe he can spearhead an Angels comeback. But as of right now, there's 7 games back out west. So I wanted to show you something here. I'm still learning this game a little bit, too. But I saw this in the league reports league thing. It's pretty cool. There's a place you can click for Manager of the Year. And I went, hey, that's kind of cool. Let's check that out. So I know this is really small on the screen, and I'm not sure how they're figuring this out. For Manager of the Year, it seems to go just by win percentage, except there's a couple guys a little bit out of order. But they've got John McGraw, the Giants manager, and they have the best winning percentage by far. So that's no surprise there. And then Rube Foster from the Birmingham Knights and Tito Francona from the Red Sox are your top three. But what I really liked was down low, they have a bit for exceeded expectations. So based on the stats and the talent on a team's roster, they have a record that they would expect that team to have. And some guys are at least a little bit above that record. So their leader for the guy who has exceeded expectations is Jack McKeon of the Miami Marlins. They're 26-33 and are expected to be 4 games weaker than that. And so I thought this was kind of cool because I didn't even know the sim did this, that it had its own expectations based on your statistical roster. And I thought it was kind of cool if you go way down. 17th is Casey Stengel of the New York Yankees at 38-21. They expect him actually to be a game better than that. So
how dare you, sir?
Right? He's 5th in Manager of the Year voting, but he's actually 17th in exceeding expectations. So.
Jim Leyland having a tough go. There was a picture of, I forget which social media, but somebody had a old baseball card of him. It was an old Pirates hat. And it was the way he was wearing it almost looked like a stovetop hat.
Nice.
I can repost it on our.
Was he smoking?
Yeah, that would have made it a lot better. Yeah.
Leyland was a famous chain smoker, which is not technically allowed in a Major League Baseball dugout. So they were always very careful when they went to the shot of the Pirates and the Tigers dugout.
I love it. Yeah, the thing was, it was like this tall and it was pure mesh, so you could actually see the outline of his hat, and then like the hat over his head, and the hat went about that much higher. It's like 6
I think we need more mesh hats, right?
Yes.
Never really out of fashion. There was a cool thing this week that I dug, partly because it was a Sun Devil, and I don't know if you saw it, but we'll get this up in our show notes afterwards. Kole Calhoun, who's from Arizona and went to Arizona State, is a Diamondback now. And against the Braves, he's playing in right field. And there's a pop down the line, decently far, but it's going to make the seats, it looks like. And he hits the wall and reaches over and runs into a kid, 5th, 6th grader probably, who's got a glove with him at the park too. And the kid takes the catch away from Calhoun. But he's fully in it. He's over his seat, right? He's where he should be. Calhoun is trying to make a great play. But the kid is not reaching over, into the field of play. It's actually the opposite. The kid makes the catch as Calhoun not runs into him, but their gloves bump, right? Kid makes the catch and looks over, and there's a big league outfielder from the opposition, right? So it's a road game. This is a Braves fan. Kid surrounded by Braves jersey. And he looks up at Calhoun, and Calhoun looks down at him and cracks a huge grin and gives the kid the fist bump, and then runs back into position, looking over his shoulder and smiling at the kid.
Awesome.
It's really cool because you could go either way with that, right? As a player, right? No kid there. He makes that catch, but once it happens, you've got a decision to make as a ball player, right?
Right.
Split second. How you going to handle this? So we'll throw that up later. I ate that alive.
All props to Kole.
Yeah, the Sun Devil. Just throwing that in. So anyway, that was one of my baseball highlights from Major League Baseball this week. But we're getting into our game of the week. So it's Yankees at Mariners, or Mariners at Yankees, sorry. Randy Johnson against Masahiro Tanaka. The Yankees season kind of took off a couple weeks ago as Mickey Mantle finally got hot. And he had struggled all year long. And at the same time, Yogi Berra got a couple of starts. He'd been splitting time with Bill Dickey, who's people forget how good Bill Dickey was. He's every bit the player Yogi was, and actually has some statistical advantages. So they were platooning, but Yogi was playing against lefties. And finally, Yogi got some starts against right-handers and really took over. So that Mantle Berra spike has really catapulted the Yankee lineup. And then one of the things I like over here, it reminds me two famous Yankee statistical fights over the years. There's the Mantle-Maris home run chase, right, in '61, where they were both going for Ruth's record that Maris got. And then in '85, Mattingly and Winfield fought to, I think, the very last day of the season for the batting title. And Mattingly pulled ahead at the very end. But DiMaggio and Ruth have been fighting for the home run lead. You can see them over here on the leaderboard. And had been pretty much a dead heat, and then Ruth hit 2 out yesterday. Wow. So, or I guess it might have been today, because we are playing tomorrow's game tonight. So, but
I just love looking at these stats. Just the names next to that's so cool.
I love the mix of it, right? That I've got George Brett and Dick Allen and AJ Ramos and Satchel Paige, just for the pictured guys on the same page. I think that's cool. I love the idea that DJ LeMahieu is red hot for the Rockies because he's not a Yankee yet. And he's challenging George Brett for the overall batting title at 371 and 370. Like that's so cool. I'm digging that. Trying to think what else was a big deal down here. If you look down at strikeouts, Satchel Paige is 40 ahead of Randy Johnson for first place. Amazing. Now he may have an extra start in there or not, but neither one of those guys have been hurt. So they have been horses, and they locked horns earlier in the year in the game where Randy punched out, I think, 21 guys, but had to pitch into the 10th inning to do it.
Crazy.
That's my favorite game of the year. And then one of my favorite stories, went to a Yankee game once through a contact on the team, had seats with the scouts. So we were sitting and was told, just don't bother them, right? They're at work. They're doing their job. And so we were sitting there, and one of the guys was kind of chatty. He was a Mariners scout, actually. And somebody brought up Dick Allen of the Phillies. And I was not familiar with him. Knew the name, but hadn't watched him play at all. And I said, I never saw Dick Allen play. And he said, he tried to think of a comp, and he said, he was Gary Sheffield before Sheffield's time. And looking at what he's doing right now, leading the entire Eternal Baseball League and runs batted in, I dare say that Sheffield was the new Dick Allen, maybe.
You're right. Yeah. So, swap it.
Yeah. So no offense to the Mariners scout. So anyway, let's fire up the game. See where we're at here. It takes a little bit. I really only have 2 complaints about software in their minor that I have to. It always starts in 2019 for some reason. This is how I played an April, well, not played, but simmed an April Yankee game in February. And so they always had one more game played, and it was a loss, too, that it took a while to catch up to. So we got
the ibuprofen finally kicked in, man.
Oh, you feeling loose, feeling limber?
Yeah, not quite as sore. I was actually carting around 80-pound concrete bags. Like, how stupid was that? How dumb was that? Just
were you dragging them or on your shoulder? Or
I was just wheelbarrow lifting them individually. Just pretty. Yeah. I should change my name to Low IQ Roto for a while, man. That was not good decision making.
Man, I'll do anything before I'll do yard work. I'll clean the drain out of the shower before I go outside to move stuff around. Look at me. I'm not built for the outdoors. Come on. It's not my fault.
You just got to get a big brimmed hat, man.
Right. I need
nice straw hat.
A legit golden sombrero to wear would make the outfit. All right. So here we go. Seattle at New York. So again, this is Monday's game that we're playing, the first game for the Monday schedule. And we're the home team, so we get to be my Yankees.
Yeah.
So let's see. Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. So, Okay, so versus lefties, we're missing a right fielder here. It could be Ruth anyway, but so basically we've got the lineup, and then we always look at how are the guys doing actually this season, not what their stats say.
Dude, that outfield is just, it's
Right.
just ridiculous.
I love that the backup outfield is Maris, Bernie Williams, and Aaron Judge. Like, I mean, come on. Dave Winfield actually has more Yankee years than Padre years, but he would have been buried in New York, and he starts and hits fourth in San Diego.
6 feet under. Yeah.
For the league itself. Matt Williams is the same way. Would have been buried. I think he's even maybe in the minors for San Francisco, but instead he plays for Arizona. So it's once in a while there's a call that makes the league better.
For sure.
One of these teams with 100 years of history. I mean, do the Giants really need Matt Williams playing 800 ball? I mean, come on. So Yogi has been playing for Bill Dickey. They're both left-handers. They're both going to strike out 3 times against Randy Johnson. So no big issue here.
This could be a quick one.
This is something I didn't know the computer did. A couple weeks ago, Judge came up as not available. And he doesn't play all the time. But he had played a decent amount because they're averaging 3 of his seasons. I think he only averages like 120 games a year because he's missed such significant time in his young-ish career for the real New York Yankees. So the computer saw he was on a pace to go way above his listed at-bats, and so it made him not available for a while. Huh. You can override that if you want to and say, no, I want him now, I'll sit him later. But it actually keeps an eye on, you can't take a guy who had, you always see those rookies who have like 5 homers and 70 at-bats.
Right.
But
Kevin Moss, right?
right. If you plug Kevin Moss in, it wouldn't give him a 60 homer, 600 at-bat season. Outrageous. It would only let him play-ish around where he was. So I like that. So it looks
Here's a comment from Rob. I agree with him, to be honest.
Farmer Webb would be a good look. Yeah, anything that keeps the sun off me is probably a good idea. So Bernie actually GHs because Ruth has a pretty good arm, a better arm, I think, and Williams is rated about the same in right field. Obviously, Bernie's a better fielder, but he's a center fielder, so he actually is a better center fielder than he is a left or right fielder, which I guess kind of makes sense. So anyway, how they stack up, DiMaggio's actually been hitting leadoff mainly. Ruth is cleanup, Gehrig's second, and then Mantle, who's been not playing or at the bottom of the lineup. Now he's hitting third. And I'm just looking at DiMaggio, Gehrig, Mantle, and Ruth. And
just
it makes me happy. Now, the funny thing is, I guess Yogi would be next. Actually, Yogi's a lefty, so Yogi goes 6. Tony Lazzeri, who's a really good player and probably the best second baseman in Yankees history, has had a great season. So he actually gets in there to help split up the lefties. And then I think it's A-Rod over Bernie. So Bernie's a switch hitter between him, and it's Gleyber Torres against lefties. Both Torres and Jeter have had terrible years for the Yankees. But again, if Bernie Williams is hitting 8th, you don't have to worry about your shortstop underperforming so much. And then, Tanaka has been, again, now we're looking at how they've done. This is their ERA in Eternal Baseball. And IA means inactive. So these are the minor league Yankees. I hate to say that, but inactive. Sabathia, Eddie Lopat, Herb Pennock, Red Ruffing. But the guy at the top, Mariano Rivera, unscored on so far this year. 15 innings,
right.
0 ERA. So we like that.
That's a challenge, Alvin Davis. That's your challenge for today.
Alvin Davis, who's not so much a Mariner as a Sun Devil. Just want to make sure we get that in there. But here's Tanaka.
I have to put up a webpage where we can list all the Sun Devils.
I wish we could have like pop-up video, like Sparky side.
We'll improve our production value for next season.
We'll get there. We're on a budget at the moment. So anyway, there we go. Yankees are all set. And I guess if we view the opponent, They haven't loaded their lineup yet, but they will. Okay, so here we go.
Welcome to Yankee Stadium for tonight's game between Seattle and New York.
Omar.
Missed 2 of their last 10.
Yes, in there.
New York has won 8 straight.
Nice.
8 of their last 10.
Mud hens.
Randy Johnson will start for Seattle. He's made 14 starts on the year and is 4-6 with an earned run average of 3.41. His first start against New York, he'll be opposed by Masahiro Tanaka for New York. He's made 4 starts on the year and is 3.
That's pretty good pronunciation.
Run average
Not bad.
3.23. His first start against Seattle.
Better than Lajway.
66 degrees. Wind speed 6 miles per hour, right to left. Pitching for New York.
What was LeMahieu?
Hero.
Lee Mayhew? I think
LeMahieu?
Lee Mayhew?
Shortstop. Omar Vizquel.
Now, we did have,
Play ball.
okay. We did have, Mariner fans were very, very vocal before the season when we posted the lineups about a couple things. They hated Zunino as their best catcher. And really, we were playing, at the time it was a platoon, and the image I put up of their starting 9 had Zunino because I put up the versus right-handed lineup. Zunino was splitting time with Dan Wilson. Had no idea how popular Dan Wilson still is in Seattle. So they were mad. They were really mad at Zunino, who, yeah, I mean, he hits 201, but he's got power and he's great defensively. So I guess it was the unfulfilled promise of top pick Mike Zunino that frosted him, or frosted the fans anyway. And it was a platoon as well. So I had Cano as their second baseman, and Cano right now ain't the most popular guy in Seattle. But it was funny because a lot of people were pointing towards the PED thing because, yeah, bad. But then it actually started a civil war on some of the boards, that the Mariner boards I was on, because people were saying, get that needle guy out of there. We want Brett Boone. Now.
Allegedly,
right? Boone was never caught or fingered or rumored even, but he did have a massive power spike in the time when a lot of it was going on.
He had a massive bicep spike too. Like,
there's a lot of innuendo about.
We're not insinuating anything,
No,
just making just factual observations from the time period.
Yeah, but if your second baseman is nicknamed Big Papa Pump, there's probably
Was that his nickname? That's not his nickname.
should have been probably.
Okay, I thought you would.
But anyway, another bit too, when they were a lot of Mariner fans were bent that A-Rod wasn't there, right? But he spent so many more years in New York. He belongs to the Yankees in eternal baseball anyway. But they actually get a bit of a theft because Omar Vizquel can't make Cleveland's roster. He was in their minors. Given that Vizquel was never a fantastic hitter, probably could say a good hitter, not much power, but like the slickest glove you'll ever see. So started as a Mariner, and I guess ends as a Mariner as far as we're concerned. And I saw the other day at the bottom of the box scores, they keep track of errors on the year, but they also keep track of good and great plays. And I just saw one a day or two ago that had a great, Vizquel had a great play. His 27th of the season. So
Just
every
vacuum.
Basically every other game, at least every other game, he's taking a hit away or turning a double play that shouldn't be turned by mere mortals. So Seattle, take a look at 12-year-old Omar Vizquel there because he's doing you proud. So
Those are decent 3-year numbers that he has too.
Yeah, not bad, right? So
respectable.
Yeah. So all right, let's get to what we're. Oh, actually, I almost forgot.
First pitch homer.
Right. Hold on, I got to change the display here so it's a little easier to read. Large.
Get the feeling it's gonna be a quick game.
Could be. So I just want to show off what we got here, right? Jody,
cool.
Nikki, and I like when they go. That's one thing I'm doing with the game is going back, and there are some of the photos that we used, which were put together by a fan of the software we actually use. Free of charge, just download all the photos of everybody. So it's great to start with. But some of the old time photos are colorized black and white photos, and I hate that. Right? I want a guy. I don't want a guy from the 1890s to be, pixelated and colored in. Like if you have any photo of him, I'll take it. So I love the black and white. So Jody,
we should make them all black and white.
It's not a bad idea. I'd like to take like a ridiculously current guy, right? Like Ketel Marte in black and white.
That'd be cool.
Mickey Mantle there in center with no neck. The Babe, A-Rod. Jim Cornette would call that a slappable face, right? Just, A-Rod.
I'm kind of impressed you didn't go with didn't he have that one photo shoot where it was him in front of the mirror?
Right? Kissing himself. We could get there. Or him getting punched by Veritek, or slapping the ball out of the mid at first base.
He's gone better for me over the years, I have to say.
A-Rod?
Yeah.
He's an interesting cat. I just, any of the guys who were that good, who got fingered for PEDs, I just shake my head. Like, I get the backup infielder who wants to play in the Big Apple and not Scranton, but God, the guys who are already top of the world, I don't know.
Yeah, you just want to get that next tier, though, right? That's the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, and Yankee fans are really vocal about not wanting A-Rod on this team. But for a team with over 100 years of history and almost all of it good, the Yanks are really thin at third. It goes from A-Rod to Greg Nettles and then drops off from there. So if it wasn't A-Rod, there's a real hole there. Torres is the shortstop only against lefties. Lazari has had a great year at second. One of my all-time favorites, Lou Gehrig, and then Yogi behind the plate to knock on. All right, here we go. Oh, I may have had this backwards. Look at that.
He just took him deep. Are we playing
Ichiro?
I'm not sure if we were both. I think I'm both right now. Hang on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I took him deep there for a second.
Right? You called that too, like 5 minutes before I started rambling. So leadoff double, and here comes Ichiro. No homers. Ichiro always frosted me because he didn't have his last name on the back of his jersey. Right? And other Japanese teammates, Hasagawa, Sasaki, did. And so young in his career, I was not an Ichiro fan, even though he was such an amazing talent. But whatever.
Hard to be mad at that guy.
Oh, Vizquel's mad at him, though. That bad butt we just saw or whatever.
All right. Wow. We don't even have to throw over.
Edgar's play in the field in Eternal Baseball once in a while, which is a bit of a scary proposition, but
wow.
Fielders,
just like that.
Griffey Jr.
Now look at the Griffey picture. I did that on purpose, right? Got to flip the hat. Ichiro's not a runner right now. He's only 44% of it.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's strange.
It varies on pitch count, though, sometimes. Like I'll see when a guy fouls one off, right? It'll be 44% on that pitch, and then it'll be 85 the next
left
time.
fielder.
So
Yeah, interesting.
I don't know if that's just a pitcher not paying attention, or if it matters in the count, if it's more likely to be a fastball count, or who knows. All right, here's the fire-breathing dragon. And it's funny because this is my vision of him, right? And I couldn't find very many pictures of him looking like this, right? Like just angry at the world and just wishing he had 100 more pitches to throw and that he could hit the cameraman and the ump and the interviewer and everybody.
The pigeon.
Yeah, the poor bird. So, but yeah,
it was a humane, quick death.
Yeah, right. It didn't suffer. I mean, Winfield killed a bird with a throw from the outfield once, and I remember PETA was after Winfield.
Well, that was wasn't that during, if I remember right, batting practice? Like he was just kind of that's if I remember correctly, that may have been a little less or more of a deliberate.
I don't remember. I have to look at.
Allegedly,
we'll find it. Yeah, I don't
need a
remember
sign.
exactly when it happened. But nobody could fault Randy Johnson because I don't think you could do that again if you tried.
No
right?
chance.
Like, I'm going to get that bird. Obviously, they found a bird who could hit his slider, though. All right, here we go.
I'll figure out that Winfield, the true scoop on that.
I remember that PETA was
First
after
baseman,
him. They were not happy.
4, Lou Gehrig.
Now, Lou, 282, I actually expect a little better, but it's
Center
going to be a
fielder,
quick game.
Number 7, Mickey Mantle.
I'm learning to read the outfielders more.
Designated hitter,
If they don't move,
Boone.
you're like, okay, we've got to beat on it. Here's Brett Boone doing what Boone does. Kind of.
Oh, is that there?
How's Joe
Left
DiMaggio
fielder,
dropping a ball, pop fly in left field? And Ibanez, who was a Yankee hero one year, right? When he went nuts in the playoffs.
Yeah, was that a trade?
I think
From
he was
Seattle?
a free agent. I think they just signed him. I mean, it
Okay.
was well at the end of his career, right? But he was hot. Still is, apparently.
Well, that's game. Might as well
That's
just wrap it.
It's over.
Robinson,
Cano back in New York.
The good guys.
Oh, Tanaka's having a little bit of a
Catcher,
rough go.
Dan Wilson.
Oh, Dan Wilson, who the Mariner fans really wanted on their team, has had a tough year so far. So
Prince. He's a prince.
Oh, but look at this.
Dude.
Making me pay.
Poor play by
The labor.
Team, Kyle
Labor.
Seeker.
Been a lot of that this year for Gleyber Torres.
Is he having a tough year? I haven't followed him much.
He's having a tough year, and there's a lot of shortstops available at the end of the year. So
Oh, right.
see how that shakes out. We don't need to throw. Oh, there's nobody out. Wow. Well, we're not throwing home. We'll take that double play. I didn't realize there was nobody out.
Shortstop.
And we only got
Look
one.
at Seager get up the line.
Right? This could be a big inning. Fence buster, Omar Vizquel. I mean, Mantle's got an 8 arm. I kind of just want to see it.
Let's do it.
Soft line. And
Right
Seager,
fielder, Ichiro.
the aggressive
Suzuki.
base runner, moves on up. Well, that should do the. It was so
Right fielder.
3-run lead for Randy Johnson. No big
Woo.
deal, right? Man. All right.
Might as well start the eulogy, man.
Baseman,
There goes
number
Ruth.
6, Tony Lazzari.
There goes Lazarus.
Wow.
It was there.
Number 8, Yogi Berra.
Now we're talking. 2-out
Send.
rally.
Third baseman,
Send him.
13, Alex Rodriguez.
Actually, was he a third of a chance there?
33.
Huh?
I think we better protect our base runners because there aren't going to be a lot of them today. There you go. Thanks, A-Rod.
First baseman, Edgar Martinez.
Yeah, this doesn't look like it's going to be
Center
Tanaka's
fielder.
day.
Ken Griffey Jr.
I think just to be careful, we may get somebody working here. Guidry hasn't pitched in ages, and that would flip lefty to righty. So we'll get Louisiana Lightning just doing the arm circles, right? Just start thinking about it out there,
I
Ron.
like it. Whoa.
That's over there in Kole, Calhoun
Designated
territory,
hitter.
but
Brett Boone.
Look at Ruth's got some wheels.
right. He's actually rated pretty well as an
Designated hitter.
outfielder.
Number 51, Bernie Williams.
All right, Bernie.
Shortstop,
I've seen
number
this movie before.
25, Gleyber Torres. Left fielder, Gio.
Gonna be a short night at work today. Hey, look at that!
Wow.
Now we're talking. Joe D's
First
trying to
baseman,
catch up to
Lou
the babe.
Gehrig.
All right, hold on. I got a couple comments real quick. Rob.
Didn't Kruk wear his helmet backwards when he came up in that All-Star game?
Did he?
I think he came up to the plate with the helmet on backwards, and then And that didn't even make Randy smile. And then it was the 3 biggest waves of all time.
James was laughing at the bullpen already, and then
Get
one
the
more
pen
comment
ready.
from Rob.
That's like Yogi.
Next time. I got to wear down Mark. Every broadcast, it takes a couple innings to wear him down.
we tend to make our bad base running decisions more in the late innings where they're more painful.
4 through 7 usually is our prime zone.
So Joe D with a shot like that. Let's see. Oh, look at this.
Oh,
we'll take it.
Center field.
Wow.
Mickey Mantle.
So a little 2 hour rally. Or I guess it was a 1 hour rally, but whatever. No, it was 2 hour rally. Come on, Nick. Wild pitch. For pass the ball. So it was an 0-2 count, or that was, it must be 1-2 now. Yeah, well.
Left fielder.
It's going around.
Ibanez.
So Guidry's ready in case we need him. If we don't, we'll sit him down here in a sec, but I was worried that last inning was going to go real sideways.
Had a chance.
Second baseman, Robinson, Cano.
All right, if he gets Cano, we'll set
Catcher,
Guidry down.
Dan.
Because they do actually wear out in the pen if you just leave them warming up.
The Hamlin.
So we'll sit him down. Yeah, exactly right. And that's how he pays me back.
Wow.
I sit down Guidry and Dan Wilson.
Handsome Dan Wilson.
Jeez, I guess.
Seager.
Boom.
Oh, okay. Fine.
That hit the Ford sign.
Right, and now
Shortstop,
Seager's on
Omar,
top of the lineup. Can't stop Omar Vizquel.
Right fielder,
Vizquel is on fire.
Ichiro.
Really wish I had that left-hander ready as Suzuki comes to the plate.
All right, here we go. Rob,
Oh,
actually, it was Larry Walker. New comment.
that's right. It was Walker. I remember Kruk took the first pitch and backed up and went, oh. He had no dignity about it whatsoever. He was terrified. There you go, A-Rod.
Right fielder, Babe Ruth.
So here we go. Everybody's always wanted to see. And this is what Eternal Baseball is all about. Prime Randy Johnson against prime Babe Ruth. And I think I know how this.
Better than this.
I think I know how this ends, right? Oh, well, a tapper to second. Like, that feels like a victory against prime
Second
Randy.
baseman.
Like, dude, I got a piece, right?
Lazary.
You see that 3-hopper to second?
Lazary.
Yep.
Ah, come on, Tony.
Yogi Berra.
There you go. Get that ball, Yogi.
Third baseman,
Save it.
Alex
Whoa.
Rodriguez.
I'm not saying you should send him, but it's the 4th inning, and he's, 2/3 chance of making it?
Yeah. Well, not quite 2/3. Dan Wilson doesn't rate that well as a catcher, but.
So as a Yankee fan, tell me.
Yeah.
So when A-Rod first came over,
Yeah.
he was the better shortstop, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, if you didn't have any egos involved, he should have been at shortstop, right?
I think the only question of the two was A-Rod definitely had the stronger arm. So if you were going to move one to third base, A-Rod's arm plays at third better than Jeter's does. But Jeter wasn't moving. Like, I know that had to be part of the conversation of with A-Rod. We'll get you, but you'll play third. And if you're not cool with that, just let us know. It's got to be like the facial hair thing, right? Like Rugi Odor looks like a 10-year-old in New York these days because he had to shave his lumberjack beard.
Right.
But it has to be part of the conversation before they bring anybody in. So I'm sure they had that talk. And there were even days when Jeter didn't play where they never played A-Rod at short.
They didn't move him over? Really?
Even when Jeter was hurt, they never played him at short. I think they just didn't want to open that can of worms.
Interesting.
So, I guess being the captain has its perks, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say that's sort of like the old Cal Ripken streak, right? Where, he had a couple of seasons where, he hit like 228 or 230. It's like, well, all things being equal, that's a player that probably could have used a couple days off here and there, right? Yeah.
Especially as he got older, as a 6'5" shortstop, right? You can't tell me that back wasn't creaking. And that's actually something, as a Gehrig fan, I didn't want Ripken to break the streak. But once he did, when I went, he did that as a 6'5" shortstop, right? How many cleats did he eat at second base? A lot of Ripken to hit on that turn, as opposed to Lou over at first going, hey, throw it here.
So I was actually in Fenway when, he obviously broke it in Camden, but I was in Fenway that night watching a Bo Sox game the night he broke it, and they put it up on the big screen. And I mean, he got probably a 5-minute standing ovation in Boston. Just, it was pretty remarkable.
It's funny because I got tied to Ripken in 2 ways. When they sat him, when he finally volunteer, whatever, he sat out his first game, was September 20th, 1998, my wedding day. Hey, who knew? So even Ripken paid homage to the Weber wedding. And then I was actually in D.C. when he had his last game. And I wasn't trying to get tickets. It was a tough ticket. But something fell through at the radio station, and they're like, we got 2 for tonight's game, Webb. You want to go?
Whoa.
Yes. And
didn't even let him finish the sentence, right?
Never, ever forget. It was Brady. I think it was Brady. Well, I'll never forget that, I think. But it was 2 outs in the ninth. The Orioles had rallied, got a couple hits, a couple guys on or something. It didn't look like Cal would get another at bat. And then he was on deck with, I think, Brady Anderson in front of him with 2 outs. And on a 2-2 pitch, I don't know what he threw, but it was right over the heart of the plate and froze Brady. And the ump wouldn't call it. The ump was like, nope. And the pitcher, as he got the ball back, was nodding. Okay, I get it. I understand. So, and it was fine because it might have been Boston, actually. And they were headed to the playoffs, and Baltimore wasn't.
Yeah.
So this game didn't matter in the standings at all. So as the ball went back to the pitcher, he's nodding. Okay, I get it. Right? I can't throw anything that would be a strike.
Just threw the next one in the dirt, right?
Right now, right? So the next one he threw above the batter's, not above his head, but over the plate, but straight up. The catcher pretty much had to extend his arm to get it. And Anderson swung and missed.
No way.
Wow.
No way.
And the air got sucked out. I've never heard the air sucked out of the stadium like that. As Cal was on deck, and the ump basically said, Cal gets one more. Cal gets one more. Because even if he flies out or grounds out or strikes out, he gets that ovation, right? Whether he gets, no matter what, he gets one more.
How did Anderson not pick up on that?
Unless Brady Anderson screws it up, right? And you had to know that was center cut strike, and they didn't give it to the pitcher, right?
Yeah.
So 3-2.
The ump's like, yeah, I think you got a little bit of that one.
I'll find the clip. It was so embarrassing. And the whole stadium was just, and they didn't boo him, as I recall. It was just, Cal just kind of shrugged and put his hand up, and I think they cheered Cal as he walked back into the dugout. But, oh man.
And Cal just took it out on him in the
right. A lot of pain in the back. All right, that's a lot of Ripken for a Yankees Mariners game. But
all right.
So A-Rod, I'm gonna let A-Rod hit rather than Yogi steal.
No, man. Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Let him hit.
Oh.
First baseman Edgar Martinez.
I thought that looked like a double. Guidry's still ready because I don't trust Tanaka.
Center fielder
tonight.
Griffey Jr.
Spring him in whenever you feel like it.
I'm just looking here because Griffey's not as good against lefties. Tanaka's at 87 pitches. I don't know. What do you think?
I think you want to pull him, so let's pull him.
All right, fine. Hello.
On Guidry, right?
Well, I mean, it's
pitching for New York, number 49.
Look at that. I mean,
Ron Guidry.
That's as much mustache as the Yanks would let him have. So,
yeah, You can. I mean, you can grow a pretty good mustache, right?
Yeah, it's just got to be above the lower lip, I think. Mattingly's wasn't bad. He had a little bit going on.
No, I'm talking about you.
Personally.
Me
personally. Yeah, I can do a mustache. I can do the square goat. I can't do the beard anymore because the sides are all silver, 100%. Not like some people get salt and pepper. I'm like strawberry and pepper, I guess. But I can't do the full beard. I look like an idiot. Like
So
I don't mind the mix, but I can't do the two-tone. I can't go from red to silver to red.
Maybe for charity? Give it some thought.
We'll see. We'll see. I only ever did the full beard once, and once it got long enough to move around, it creeped me out. So. All right, so Mantle's got a chance to dive here and catch this ball. What I found is if you dive and miss, sometimes it just means, single, right? You've seen that where the guy drops the ball and sometimes it means it rolls to the wall for a triple. So, but I think we got a little dangerous here. And trust in me. To make the catch.
Designated hitter, Brett.
It's about time someone made a great catch in center field to Rob Griffey.
Right. What was that fake nickname you just gave Boone?
Big Papa Pump.
Big Papa Pump.
It's the nickname of like the most roided wrestler of all time, Scott Steiner.
Oh, is it?
he had a bicep on top of his bicep. It was like he would flex, and then he would flex again, and the little guy would pop up like whack-a-mole, and then he would just turn his head and kiss him like that. Like it was so creepy.
I just remember the Ultimate Warrior, man. I was so grossed out every time he would like draw, like tie those things on his biceps. It's like, oh man, just.
Yeah, there's a little bit of chemicals involved there, pretty sure. All right, so Boone's
all right, here's another comment from Joe Mind.
Designated hitter.
Oh no,
Williams.
This is my friend Mike, who's a big Yankee fan. So is his brother Rob. Oh, and look, the red light has come on to show we're in danger. Hold on, that's better. Okay. All right, so it's rally time. Let's go, Brady. Or not.
Shortstop.
Bernie's actually only up because Maris was having such a bad year, which is weird because, it's based off 3 good seasons, one of which was a 61 homer season, but
amazing.
Well, that's baseball season.
Left fielder, Joe DiMaggio.
I wouldn't be adverse to sending Torres, but that's an out that could be an at-bat for DiMaggio or Gehrig.
Yeah, I don't think you take any chances with Murderer's Row here.
And, Randy's only got 60 pitches left. So, way to go, Joe. Well, he hit one out. I can't rip Joe D for popping
First
out.
baseman, Lou Gehrig.
Let's go, Lou. Nope.
Second baseman, Robinson Cano.
I'm pleased with. It shouldn't shock me that Guidry's pitching well. One of the years in here is the year Guidry went like, God, what was it, like 24-2 or something? 25-3, I think. Just gross the stats he had that year, and that's again one of the 3. Here's Dan Wilson, who I lampooned at the beginning of the show, and he's 2 for 2 with a homer, and still mad,
killing it.
Seager.
Zunino will never see the field again.
Right? Mariner fans are like, I told you Zunino shouldn't play.
Shortstop, Omar Vizquel.
Vizquel 2 for 2 as well. But those were Tanaka numbers, and this is
center fielder, Mickey Mantle.
Was it Louisiana Lightning or Gator or both? Rob and Michael tell us. They're Yankee fans.
Definitely the first, the former at least, right?
Might have been Gator as well. You can stack up the nicknames. You don't have to have just one.
Right fielder, Babe Ruth.
Here we go. Babe Ruth looking for revenge. Still looking.
Second baseman, Tony Lazzari.
You gotta imagine as a lefty, that's not the guy he wants to see up there. Not a lot of hard contact today off the big game.
Right fielder, Ichiro Suzuki.
0 for 3 for Ichiro.
Tough
day.
throw, huh?
First baseman, Edgar Martinez.
Oh, he caught it. Oh.
Yeah, you got it. I was always wondering,
Center
I've never
fielder,
really got a good answer, why it took the
Jr.
Mariners so long to give Edgar a shot.
Yeah, weird, right?
He was both. That's right. Because I know he was a bad fielder, right? And he came up as a third baseman, and that didn't last long. But, I mean, third base, first base, DH, like, you can't tell me that bat wasn't going to play. But I think you came up at like age 27 or something. And it's not like they had a whole lot of talent in front of it.
Yeah, it doesn't make much sense.
I never got that for Edgar.
Yeah, Rob answered that as well. Just
right.
Don't want to sell him short there.
Which one's better, though?
I kind of like Louisiana Lightning. That has a little, the alliteration works.
Yeah, and I think he was like 6'3", 110 pounds. So the whole gator thing doesn't, other than long and skinny, I guess, the whole gator thing doesn't quite work for me. But look at 0 for 3 Griffey popping it up. Take that.
Designated hitter, Brett Boone.
Big Papa Pump is your hookup. Holla if you hear him. Do you leg that out without tearing a quad? No.
Oh.
All
right.
Boy, it's a yogiism actually, right? It gets late early these days. As Randy Johnson has mowed through the Yankee lineup and held them to 4 hits over 6 innings.
All right. 5-10.
My favorite yogiism is of them, there's plenty. But the one where he goes, yeah, that restaurant's too crowded. No one goes there anymore. Oh, now we're talking.
Low blow.
Yeah, Seattle holds a record for regular season victories in one season. Oh, that's a good question. But there's a lot of that, right? Because you've got Buhner, who's hurt. Ken Phelps. He went back and forth. Sterling Hitchcock, I think, ended up in Seattle. There's a couple anyway. Chino Martinez. There's a little Seattle-New York combination. All right, so Yogi, let's see it. Not quite.
Third baseman, Alex Rodriguez.
You hit him. I mean, who doesn't want to?
Designated hitter, Bernie Williams.
All right, Bernie. Ooh, that's that.
Oh, it's got a chance.
No.
Shortstop.
Gave him a ride, though.
Torres.
All right, there's no way Torres is batting here in the 7th with a man on.
One more comment for you. How about Spike Owen?
Oh, I hated Spike Owen. Oh, just hated him. He hit in matter of fact, I think I was at your house when I saw the highlight for it. The Yankees were just clinging. This is like 87, 88 when they're not very good, but I don't know that yet. And the Yanks are like 4 games back with 5 to play, right? And it's not the game it might have been the game that eliminated them. And there was a runner on first, and it was Willie Randolph, who should have known better, and I forget who the shortstop was, but he was awful. And Spike Owen, with runners on first and third, Spike Owen hits a one-hopper right over the mound, like high over the mound, right over second base. And Randolph and the shortstop run together and both stop and look at each other as it dribbles into center field. And I think the winning run or the tying run scores, the go-ahead run. And they got a shot of Spike Owen at first just going nuts, right? Like he just, won the Triple Crown. And I'm like, way to croquet tap to second base and celebrate like you just won the World Series, you jackass.
And this was in the Kingdom?
No, this was
that turf in the Kingdom probably.
This is when Owen was a Red Sox.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
It was a big deal for them. So yeah, Jay Buhner. My baseball people said Ken Phelps. Ken Phelps. All right, so let's see who hits lefties for the Yanks by statistically anyway. Our best lefty bat on the bench is Bill Dickey. Versus lefties, anyway. Now, that normally you wouldn't pinch hit your backup catcher, but desperate times. So, Bill Dickey.
Pinch hitting for
welcome
New
to the ball game.
Number 8, Bill Dickey.
With 7 homers. Nope. Too wide.
Left fielder, Rahul Ibanez.
Gotta say, pretty impressed with Ron Guidry, but
Yeah.
how many pitches? He's got 25 left. He'll be okay for an inning if he doesn't fall apart.
Very
so we
strong.
don't need a pitcher, but we do need a new shortstop. This is not going to be Bill Dickey. So here comes the captain. I think in this game, A-Rod is rated better at short than Jeter is. If you wanted to actually play him at short. So we could do that.
Yeah,
I don't think they feud digitally, but maybe. That's a good point. Okay, so here we go. Back to action.
Second baseman, Robinson Cano.
Guidry.
Just started Guidry.
Getting it done, right? And here's Dan Wilson, who I apologize to unequivocally. Because he's still so mad.
His batting average has gone up like 40 points in this game.
Yeah, Mantle got him, though. You can't hit it past
Joe DiMaggio.
All right, here we go. Top of the order. And Zunino is catching. He must have come in as a defensive replacement.
Interesting.
Take that, Dan Wilson.
We apologize, Mariners fans.
That looked like a gapper,
Lou
but it wasn't.
Gehrig.
I mean, I'm sending up Lou Gehrig, Joe DiMaggio, and Mickey Mantle.
Mantle.
Ooh.
Wow.
I
Laser.
got out.
Laser.
Like that.
Right fielder, Babe Ruth.
4-2. Okay. With poor Babe coming up.
Third baseman, Kyle
Tough day.
Seager.
I like the Mad fan. Nice. You can still hear him complaining.
What was he saying? Is it
He
coherent?
says, that dude, he comes up every so often. He says, no way, like 3 times. And then he mansplains. Sounds like he mansplains it to his wife. They said it in Swain, but you totally saw it. Now, that's just conjecture, but that's what it sounds like to my ear. We'll get Betances warming up, just in case. But I'd kind of like Guidry to finish it because he's been
Shortstop,
incredible today.
Omar Vizquel.
I think this comment's for you, Webb.
Lee Guterman. God, they told a Lee Guterman story on the Yankee broadcast today. I'm like, scraping. A-Rod getting it done.
Right fielder,
hot corner.
Ichiro Suzuki.
All right, Ichiro is. It's funny when you go. Ichiro struggles against lefties because he only hits 325, not 339.
Ridiculous.
But I think Guidry's done. Actually, he's 2 pitches from his limit, which means he's slowing down. And we've got Betances ready. And prime Betances
Pitching
was
for
an
New York,
absolute beast.
Number 68,
So
Dylan Betances.
Tip of the cap to Guidry, though.
yeah,
Well done.
definitely. Oh boy. Nope.
Second baseman, Tony
All
Lazar.
right. Well, we
There
need
we
a
go.
base runner, and Lazari's been good, and at least he's right-handed. So, and Randy's got a maximum pitch limit of 145, which means he's probably reduced at this point. Why didn't I pinch hit? Oh yeah, because I was just looking for more power. And Jeter has been awful this year. Jeter's hitting like 203 on the season. So that's, even though I know
Bill Dickey.
went with Dickey, yeah, he's only hitting 220, but with 7 homers. So I was really hoping to pop that 2-run shot there with 2 outs. If this was Jeter, as we expect Jeter to play, he probably would have been a more wiser choice there, since I had to use him defensively anyway. Once we got to the flip at the beginning, but he's been so bad with the bat that I don't know that I'm pinch hitting Jeter for anybody. He's actually getting pinch hit for a lot more. But again, that's eternal baseball, where a first ballot Hall of Famer like Jeter can have a struggling year and end up fighting for playing time. So, all right, Tony.
Oh,
Got a shot.
got a chance.
Ah,
Wow.
might have to get that pen working.
Catcher,
Seattle.
Yogi,
Yeah.
Yogi there. Pops it up. Hey, it came together kind of late, but we got a game here.
third baseman, Alex.
Got a shot. Oh, A-Rod.
So if he hits one out now, a nation of New York fans would stand up, cheer half-heartedly, and say he's still not a real Yankee.
Oh.
They need base runners.
Designated hitter.
He has 143 pitches.
Yeah, like
Just like
he'll
they're just
turn
going for it.
his pitch count will turn red once he gets past 145. I don't think we have anybody else to use here. We got Maris and Mattingly on the bench, but they're both lefties. So not here. Next, it would be Jeter, but I don't know that you can do that. Like you could, I guess Yoga, does Berra play third? Berra played everywhere, which is another reason why he's brilliant. That would be a big no, sir. No third baseman.
He's a one in center.
Nobody plays second. No, I got no other way to fill my infield. So
Let it roll.
come on, Bernie. Oh, yeah, that's a good play right there. Go for that pickoff. No. But I had hope.
Shortstop, number 2,
You know what?
Jeter.
James may have a point here. Jeter's average is higher than I gave him credit for. He must have been strong the last week or two, because I remember it way down by 200. So
here we go in the red. This is for the game.
With Randy past his pitch count maximum limit, the tying run at first, the go-ahead run at the plate, it's the captain, Derek Jeter. No.
Oh, man.
Good
That was a
game,
good finish.
though.
That was a good finish.
They got 3 off the big unit. That's not bad, but it is the Mariners, 4-3, breaking the Yankees' win streak.
The final score from Yankee Stadium, Seattle 4, New York 3. Randy Johnson is the winner. He is now 5-6. Masahiro Tanaka is the loser. He is now 3-1. Dan Wilson hit home run number 2 on the season.
Number 2.
Tony Lazzari hit number 2. Mickey Mantle hit number 6. Joe DiMaggio hit number 20. Time of the game, 3 hours, 23 minutes.
It didn't feel that long.
You let down the fan base.
I did. Looking down at the stuff rating, everybody kind of just had their normal stuff. Nobody was hyped or weak today. It's still weird that Randy's 5-6. And maybe I was looking at it saying maybe I was a little harsh on Masahiro. He only gave up 2 earned in 4 1/3, but he also gave up 7 hits and a walk in 4 1/3. So he got what 13 outs and 9 guys got on base, or 8 guys got on base. So I don't think I think worse. There were choppy waters ahead for Mr. Tanaka today. So we got to give it up for Ron Guidry.
Guidry's slung it today.
Right? 4 innings of 1-hit baseball, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. And Dylan Matanzas was marvelous in this third of an inning. So there you go. As John Sterling likes to say, that's baseball, Susan. Sometimes you just run into an ace on a good day, and there isn't a whole lot you can do about that. So congratulations to the Seattle Mariners. That drops us to 3-7, I think, on the year as Eternal Baseball managers.
Tough matchup, though. Tough matchup.
We're streaky. I think we dropped 5, won 3, lost 2. So we'll give it another shot next week. If you like what you saw, we always try to feature a new team or new teams every week. So we'll have a new set next Sunday on the Eternal Baseball podcast. You can find us all over the place on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, and on YouTube. If you missed any past shows or want to see different teams playing, you can check out some of our vintage content. But the best place to be is eternalbaseball.com, where every day we put up the daily box scores, the updated standings, and league leaders. The box scores for every game are there. And we have team-specific message boards. So if you just want to look at Phillies box scores, there's a thread right for that. And if you're watching a team, because we can't watch them all super close, if your favorite team desperately needs a lineup change or a guy promoted or a guy demoted, let us know on the message boards. We want every team to be as competitive as possible. And pennant races are good for everybody. So check it out. Let us know how your favorite team can possibly play better. And we will absolutely, if it makes statistical reason, we'll give it a shot. And like, it is nice to see some teams catch fire. The Diamondbacks, the Cubs, the Dodgers are turning things around and making things more interesting. So pop over to eternalbaseball.com, leave us a comment, let us know how your team can be a little more dangerous. And that's it. That's another edition in the books. We're here every Sunday night at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Salt Lake time. And we'll have 2 new teams for you next week. So appreciate you tuning in, and we will catch you next week for the 11th edition of the Eternal Baseball Podcast.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great night.